But just to give you an idea of why what I do is so different, I have been the 24/7 emergency service for this company for 35, almost 40 years. So every single phone call that comes in after hours, I've taken it. And that is my most enjoyable part of the job. And as I'm looking to the future, everybody says you need to give that part up. But that is really one of my favorite parts because I have met so many cool people and fostered such great relationships over crazy weird travel problems, And so that is the difference between what we do and your automation and your online travel agencies, and that there's always a person in your background that can help you, that is committed. Really, they know they know what you're doing. They know it's not a third party, it's us.
Welcome to the Velstrive podcast, powered by Velocity Strategics. Today, as automation dominates the travel landscape, we challenge the conventional wisdom, and we are thrilled to host Holly Kaiser, owner of Via Van Bloom Travel, to discuss how her truly hands-on approach and tailored itinerary design delivers superior, unforgettable experiences over faceless algorithms. So let's begin. Holly, thank you so much for joining us today. How are we doing?
Very good, very good.
And where are you joining us from today?
I am joining you from Denver, Colorado.
Denver, Colorado. Very nice. It must be pretty cold out there, I'm guessing.
It's actually pretty nice for winter.
Okay, because it's actually getting cold here. I'm waiting for the snow to come down. Just ready for this to start skiing and snowboarding out here.
Yes. They have snow in the mountains. I know that.
Yeah. Okay. So if you could tell us a little bit about your journey and how you got into Via Van Bloom Travel, Holly.
I sure can. I've always been an avid traveler. In fact, I would say it's my passion, has been since I was a little kid. And when I went to college for a different degree. I was going to be a teacher, and I couldn't find a job and started my career very accidentally in travel. But after all these years, it is my passion, it is my love, and I've seen it this is my 47th year, so I've seen it from the beginnings to where it is today. And every year they say there will be no room for what I do, but every year it seems to get bigger and bigger for us. So I have a passion for several things. Travel, number one, you can't be in this job unless you truly, truly love it and want to do it yourself. And then the second thing is that I have a passion for service and hands-on, really intimate client service and care. I also have a real huge passion for hospitality. So it fits perfect in all the things that I really love, the hospitality industry, travel, service, and I just enjoy working with live people.
Very cool. And you said it gets bigger and bigger every year. How long have I remember when we first spoke, it's something that you took on because they were selling it and you didn't want it to close.
Yes.
But it ended up turning into something. It was an entirely different reason why you do it now.
Yes, 25 years ago, I've always worked as kind of an independent agent, and I was working with Via Van Bloom, and I love them. They're a great company. It's family owned. It has been family owned for 60 years. So about 25 years ago, the owner then was wanting to retire and he wanted to close. And he had kind of let it go to the place where it was not very profitable. And so instead of going somewhere else, I thought, let's just take over and see what we can do. And I never thought I would want to be an owner responsible for all the parts of travel, because I love the travel part, but administrative tasks, things like that, were never quite my forte. Bookkeeping definitely is not my forte, but you can hire people for that, I figured out.
Sure.
And I do love mentoring my younger agents and my younger people that work with me, and finding those people that have the same passion I do. And there's a whole world of us out there. So it's been, once I got my fingers in it and started learning how to run it, and the doors started opening. It's really amazing. I had a great client who I had done his parents and then him, so 2 generations, and his travel. And he said, would you like to have an office in my brand new, beautiful independent retirement building? And I thought, I don't know, that doesn't sound terribly fun, but I thought, let's check it out. And I said, what could go wrong? He's offering me a nice office, and they wanted to have, they have what they call a main street in this building, and they have like a salon, a nice drugstore, and gifts, and places where they can play cards. And so it's a kind of a lively little area. And I've been in that building since that whole 25 years, and I've watched him build his business from a little, from a very small one building thing to a giant thing too. So it's been really fun. But that started me off, and I haven't turned back to. We've had a great time. I love travel. I love taking care of my people. I'm passionate about it. I travel as much as I can because you can't really sell what you don't know. So I travel a ton and enjoy that and getting my people out so that they can see everything. But just to give you an idea of why our what I do is so different, I have been the 24/7 emergency service for this company for 35, almost 40 years. So every single phone call that comes in after hours, I've taken it. And that is my most enjoyable part of the job. And as I'm looking to the future, everybody says you need to give that part up. But that is really one of my favorite parts because I have met so many cool people and fostered such great relationships over crazy weird travel problems, And so that is the difference between what we do and your automation and your online travel agencies, and that there's always a person in your background that can help you that is committed, really, they know what you're doing. They know it's not a third party. It's us. It's the people who book your travel. We also take care of you when you're traveling. I just came back from Venice and my own self got in trouble on my flights. And so it was really fun. I had somebody covering my job and I said, help. We're at an airport and they were standing big long line and they got us all taken care of so I could get home.
Very cool. So I think that what you got into it from the very beginning, from what I'm hearing, is you've always been obviously a fan of travel, which, man, who isn't? It's I think one of the most important things that anyone can do. It's education, therapy, and so many other things. It's culture shock, which we need. I think we live in a little bubble. Yes. It's a very silo mentality. So it's very fortunate for someone to be able to end up in a company that they either help people travel, and I would assume it makes it much easier and cheaper for you. You have the inside track on the best ways to do so. If you're going to, not frugal, but the best ways to do it as far as locations to hit, when to hit them, when prices go down, because sometimes the travel can get a little expensive.
Well, and there's a lot of different ways to do it. But the one thing that we are not is the cheapest always, because there's always a cutthroat out there that'll, get things at the cheapest. For us, it's more experiential. We want you to have a fantastic experience when you travel, not the cheapest thing when you travel. We want you to come back, and if an extra $300 is going to give you that, oh my God, that was the most beautiful hotel I've ever stayed in, or that camel ride was the most enjoyable, but I had a hard time getting up on the camel, those fun experiences. That is what we bring to the table. We love to keep pricing low, and we're really, really good at what we do. So we know how to, work with the airline system and work, because one of your biggest components in travel is getting there. And it's a kind of an unreliable component that you have to use to get to where you're going. So we really put a lot of work into that part of it. We're really careful about, if you are going somewhere with connections, we're really careful about weather, what city we're taking you through, how much time you have, things like that when you're on an online format, you just look at the price and you really don't look at those kind of things. We look at all that and we make sure that works out really well.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is that you go a little bit deeper than, let's say, a website could possibly go, or any automated service would go when it comes to Via Van Bloom.
Yep. I mean, when you say, I need a hotel in, let's just say Denver, and if you go online, you can probably get, I don't know how many hotels are in Denver, but we can guide you. And same thing, like if you were in Cancun, or if you were in Venice, or if you were in London, where do you want to be? What's your interests? What do you love? An algorithm on an online agency doesn't ask you those questions. They're getting smarter. They do better at that. and maybe someday I won't have a job, but I still think that the one-on-one and the service that we provide, our main office is located in Nebraska. So we're really accessible from both coasts, and most of our clientele do not come from Nebraska. They come from all over the country and the world, in fact. So it's a smaller world now, and we can communicate so well and so easy, and a quick, G-chat, or, there's so many different ways to communicate. I had some clients that were in Europe for a month, and if they needed me to cancel a hotel reservation, a dinner reservation, they would just text me and say, hey, cancel this. We're too full. We can't do it. So it's a very personalized service, and that's what we provide. Personalized service, and then backup, and then just exciting. Like, I just had a client call that I did a big destination wedding for, and she goes, hey, I want a honeymoon now. Where can we go? Do you have any ideas? And immediately I knew, there's 3 places. You got to go one of these 3, because I knew what she liked. I know what she did before, and I knew how to, give her exact. And people trust you, and they said, she said, yeah, check them out. Give me some pricing. Let's see what we do.
So I'm a big believer. I'm a hospitality background myself, and there's nothing that any AI is getting better, but there's nothing with the human experience with one human to another. If you go to, I just saw they made a restaurant that's completely automated, from taking the order and making the food and washing the dishes. That could never, ever possibly replace, sitting down in a beautiful restaurant with a server giving you the best possible experience, or someone like yourself, curating it and being there on the phone, like right when somebody needs something. That's something that's very cool. So for Via Van Bloom, just for the folks that are watching right now, we're going to ask you again a little bit later for those who miss it, but where can we find Via Van Bloom?
We're located in Lincoln, Nebraska. We have a website, just www.viavanbloom.com. It's very pretty, but it doesn't let you do anything. And that's purposeful. We don't want people to try to book on our website. We want them to call us. So it tells you what we do. We have a lot of different things, but we're located in Lincoln, Nebraska, and that website would give you our address and phone numbers and contact.
Okay. And is there any social media platform, just in case, that we can find you that would direct you to the website, in case any folks are prevalent social media users?
Best, the most, where we post the most, is Instagram. So if you have
Instagram.
Instagram,
Okay.
and you look up Via Van Bloom Travel. I have a very young, very hip little social media girl that does that for me.
Okay.
Yeah. I enjoy social media myself, but I'm just not the best at it. So, like I said, I can't do it all. So I have other people do those things for me.
So you don't have to know how to do everything. You just got to find the right folks,
Yeah.
and you can buy time by paying them
Or
to
fake it till
dedicate
you
their
make
work.
it on occasion.
That's true. Okay. So when we started Via Van Bloom, it was for one reason, and obviously travel's huge, and I don't think that's going to change. But as far as, when we fast forward to now, Via Van Bloom, what is the North Star for Via Van Bloom in a year from now, or 5 years from now? Can you give us a little one for the North Star for what it looks like in a year, and then a little bit what it would look like in 5 years? What would be the ideal scenario? If you saw it in a movie, what is Via Van Bloom? How does it come up in the movie as a travel agency? What is it doing?
Okay. I would say we have a nice big staff, and they are well trained and educated. And this lady is doing the fun part and just doing the traveling, doing her groups, doing the things that I really, really love. Since this is my 47th year, I'm on kind of the end of my career, people will say. And I have a beautiful daughter and grandchildren in Colorado. That's why I have a house here. And I love being with them, and I enjoy so much that part of my life too. I'm trying to integrate. My daughter goes, you need to just sell and be done. And I go, but it's my passion, girl. I love it. I love it. And it would break my heart. And think of losing clients that you've had for 30, 40 years. So my North Star is get all these young, kids that are working, that love it and have the same passion, and mentor them and help them grow. I just do the fun stuff pretty soon.
Yeah.
And not saying that in a way like I want to, not be a part of the planning and all that, but I want to start my North Star is taking a little more of a backseat to the day-to-day and just help mentoring their future, because it's their future. That's what I've had a couple of offers to purchase, and I don't want to do that because I want the legacy that I've started to live on. And I want to take care, just as I told you, I care about service and care about people, and that goes really doubly for my employees.
Okay. Very cool. Besides the North Star, let's switch lanes a little bit. Everything can be when you do something that you truly enjoy, especially like travel or help folks travel. I can't imagine how much it's got to be pretty fulfilling if you helped an entire wedding, get to the destination and then help them get the honeymoon. You're an integral part of somebody's memories and an experience that way. With everything, there's a little bit of there's another side to the same coin. But there's always challenges, and what I always like to ask our guests is what would you say was your greatest challenge from when you started Via Van Bloom, or maybe towards the third act of what this has been up until this point? What would you say was the greatest challenge that when you think back, you almost wonder how you overcame something like that?
Probably the biggest and most recent is COVID and shutting down my whole business. Basically the world shut down and what I do was no longer needed for a while. I also kind of jump back to 9/11 too. That was almost more destructive in that it scared people for travel. They were afraid to go. They were really nervous to go. It was harder to build that trust back and get that back than COVID because everybody was stuck and couldn't go anywhere. Then when they could, it was like jump, we're going. We've been told we can't, now we can, we're out here. So
Yeah.
I would say COVID though is a big challenge. And I know in my industry, probably 50% of the online mom and pop shops, storefronts, independent agents quit quit their job and went on to something else during that time. There were so many challenges. The first question I always get asked is, didn't you just have a nice rest during COVID? And I'm like, no, we spent the first year undoing everything we had already done because, of course, travel is very future planned. And so we had a year's worth of travel to undo and get people home. I'll give you a really good example of kind of the fulfillment of the worst scenario, but then what I love to do best, which was I had a small group of like high school kids that I did every year, but this year they decided to go with another online agency and they went to somewhere in, I think it was in Central America. And it was like a mission trip, something like that, 20, 25 kids. I hadn't even done their travel. I had nothing to do with it, but they got stuck down there during COVID, right when everything shut down, and the airlines left them, would not bring them home. There was nobody who would bring them home. So I've got 20 high schoolish type kids with a bunch of parents that are worried out of their minds. And one of those parents was one that I always usually took care of this group. He called me, goes, Holly, what can we do? How can we get them home? And so I didn't book them. There's not going to be a cent going my direction. But what we did is he helped me and we worked together and we chartered a plane, a big plane, like for 100 people. And we got the word out, social media all over the place. People came from all over the place trying to get out of that location. And we chartered a plane. We got all those kids home. And it was really fulfilling to me because it was like, they knew who they could call in a bad time. Even though it wasn't my problem, really, they knew who to call, and I helped them get it fixed. Now, the man who put up the money to start to do that, he was the real hero because he really just had a lot of faith and did that. But we filled that plane. We got them home, got everybody home. But that was just a teeny iceberg of all the stuff we had to do during COVID and trying to get people back into traveling and reassuring their fears. But mainly losing your full income in a business for, a good 2 years, I would say, pretty much. Kind of died for 2 years. So
That's a very good story, by the way. You basically saved everyone's butt.
I helped, but it was
Or
nervous
that you were
wracking.
an integral part, to get those kids back home.
Yeah.
Parents must have been losing their minds.
You can imagine it would be terrible. I had that many, I had more than that in Europe. And we were luckier there because I kind of had some warning and I said, you get those kids to the airport, we're going to get them out of here. And we got I know we got everybody home that was stuck during when they shut everything down, which was quite a feat to do, and to get the airlines to cooperate with you and take tickets that we're not supposed to be for another 10 days or whatever. So there was a lot of challenges, a lot of things that some of the things that we use as our tools to do our job, of course, they lost all their income too. And so they tried to increase what they build us to help with their bottom line. So it was just like a very terrible combination of things that went wrong, and went downhill. But I never had to get rid of one person. Good story, that gentleman that had me in his building, it's a retirement building. Guess what? What happens to a retirement building during COVID? Man, they shut us down and we weren't in our office for, I think, almost 9 months, and we work from home. So that was a big challenge too.
Nice. So is working from home something that you still do now, or
Yeah.
that you prefer, or do you
We all
prefer?
do.
Yeah.
Yeah. We work from home. We work from beaches. We work from
There you go.
Italy. We work from
Wherever there's Wi-Fi.
anywhere we are. Yeah. We've always said, our ideal working conditions, like in January. So we're in Nebraska, so it's usually cold and snowy and miserable. And so we've always said in January, we're just going to go to some resort for like 3 weeks and put our laptops up by the pool, and the phones work, everything works, we can just work from there. We always say it, but we've never done it. It would be fun to do it one time.
So I do it sometimes just for a change of scenery to get out of like my office. I do this from home. I work from home too, but sometimes you can feel a little cooped up, even in the comfort of your own home. So going to a pool sometimes and ordering like a margarita and maybe some some nice charcuterie maybe, and having that laptop open with the Wi-Fi it improves productivity. I would say for sure.
I feel you. Yes, you are a traveler. If that helps
you
are one.
It's something that from hospitality has been very good to me, and for those who are in hospitality, it can be good if you have the right gig. I mean, there's some good jobs and bad jobs like everywhere else, but I realized that it was never going to get rich doing that, and I was never going to be able to. I would always have to clock in and out. So the dream is, you're kind of living the dream already. You are traveling. Your passion is travel. You are traveling, and you can work while you're doing what it is you love to do.
You got it. I'm with you. I've always been wanting to be in control of my finances and how much. I mean, I'm a competitive person, and I'm also a hard worker, and I'm like, why am I limited to this job? So I always did independent work, but when I bought Via Van Bloom, it kind of opened up my eyes to some of the problems that employers have, and how to maybe, I always have a better feel for the people that work for me, and hopefully I treat them so much better than, what they would get any other job, because I've been on the other side of that fence, and I want to make sure that they're happy and well cared for and motivated, and just have a good experience at work. We really do have a really terrific bunch of people that I work with, and we are fun. We just enjoy our jobs, and we do anywhere. And I'm really, really like, after COVID, it was like, one of my girls says, I really liked working at home. I don't like working at it all the time, but I'd sure love a day at home. And I said, hey, that's great. They had a new puppy, COVID puppy, everybody got those.
Yeah.
And so
I got one too.
You got one too? Yeah.
Yeah,
Everybody
I got one too.
Puppies, so she stays home.
He's right behind me. He's trying to go for a walk right now.
Going for a walk. But anyways, it's been my dream job, and I'm not making $75 million, but I'm very healthy, and I can go do what my job provides me, the things that I really love to do. So that's very cool. That's a perk that you don't get in many jobs.
One of the things that a mentor taught me one time, that he asked me a question of what 3 most important things are, and everyone gets them wrong. And so to save a little time, I'll just kind of go off the top, and everyone gets it wrong. And here's why: because I said family, I said, the things that kind of are in my heart. But the reality is that it's universal, and it goes for everyone in this specific order. Number 1 is your health, because without your health, if you're on your deathbed, you can't do anything. And then number 2 is freedom. Not necessarily in prison, hopefully not nobody in prison, but financial freedom to be able to move around and go do the things you want to do and help the people that you love the most. And number 3 is time. We can't make any more time. So right now, I think you are nailing it.
I've never thought, I had a bout with cancer this last year, and it really brought it home to me and really focused my intentions and what I wanted to do. Because once you think about that, it's like, oh, here I am right where I want to be, but without my good health, I will be not doing this, So,
right.
You are exactly right. And if you would have asked me that, I would have been wrong too.
Yeah, I was wrong. I was wrong when I first tried, and he nailed it. It's 100% true.
Yeah.
A man on his deathbed only has one wish, and that's just to be healthy so that he can go be free and then go spend time
There
doing
you
the things he
go.
wants to do, you know?
Yeah, and time you can never get back. Time you can never
And
get
that's it. It's the only thing you can't make more of.
Yeah.
Only in the sense that how you are paying somebody to do your social media, you can buy some time so that you're not on the phone doing all the engagement and promotions and all
Yes.
that sort of thing.
Or
But
you can
and
buy bookkeepers who do the icky stuff that you really, really, really don't like.
correct,
That
exactly,
buys me a lot of
exactly.
time, right?
I would imagine.
Yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned that it's a job. It's still something you love to do, but at the end of the day, you are a hard worker, and with work comes challenges. New challenges that present themselves in ways that we did not expect. There are unknowns sometimes that I'm sure that hopefully you've eliminated most of the unknowns for yourself and for your clients. But there are also sometimes unknowns that come out of nowhere, pop up, and that you never thought was a thing, and now you know all of a sudden it is. So, what would you say are the biggest day-to-day challenges as the owner of Via Van Bloom?
I'd say the number one biggest challenge is our biggest partner, which is the airline system. And they're a very, very hard to work with partner. It's just like if you were selling a product and the main manufacturer of your product you had no control over. And that's kind of where we are with in travel. That's probably the number one issue and problem that we have, because airlines are, not most of the time they are reliable, but it's gotten to the place where the service and the care for those people in the air, or just maintaining planes and not having delays, and then things out of their control like weather. So weather's one of our biggest enemies, because it can mess up. Just recently, the Jamaica hurricanes. I mean, we only had one hurricane that was massive this year, and it just tore things up. So those are things that are an all the time challenge to us. Some businesses don't have that. We have that all the time. Every single day we get a call. I just had a call I saw on my phone of a person stuck in Chicago that they've finally, after 6 hours of delaying their flight, canceled their flight. So the airline part of our business is one of the biggest problems. And then I'd say another unknown that people don't even think about is people's perception and what's out there in our big world of social media and news and politics. All of that really affects travel, and it can be liberating to some people and it can scare some people to death. So we have that big thing to overcome when they come in and try to, I really want to do this, but I think it's not safe to go there, And so some of those kind of problems, and then things that you don't even, like, you can never imagine. We had a bunch of people in Cancun, and there was a huge wreck, and the main road to the airport was not open, and they could not get, so they started walking. They figured they had enough time, 2 hours, before flight time, thought they had enough time to walk. And the thing they feared most came to them, which was those big trucks that have the army guys on it and the guns, and said, "Can we
Yeah.
give you a ride?" And took them to the airport. So some of our problems turned
Oh
out
my
to be
God.
really good things,
Yeah.
But every day we have challenges. One of my agents just had a theft in a really, really beautiful hotel. There was no, whether it was misplaced or whatever, there's something we have to deal with and say, hey, how can we help you? How can we do stuff? How can we make this better for you? We can't take away the theft, but let's make it, how can we fix it for you to make you comfortable and still want to just stay where you are and enjoy where you're at? So I'd say those are the two biggest, though, is weather and our partner that doesn't like to behave all the time.
I see. So the airlines can be a little volatile when it comes to
Terribly,
how they
terribly
operate and their
volatile.
pricing.
Yeah.
I can only imagine that. I know that that's something I travel, especially with the holidays coming now. I have a trip planned to Texas to see some family, and
Yeah.
I'm keeping an eye on the airline prices, and they really go up and down. They do a good job at gouging folks during the holidays.
They do. They do. They do. And you would think that if you paid that much for a ticket, you'd get some service too, and some care when you
Maybe some
travel.
like free check bags, you'd think.
Something like that. Yeah. And
Yeah.
there's always just a challenge trying to explain to a person a fare, like when you go online or whatever. There's when I first started in travel, there were like 3 fares: first class, business, and economy. And economy had 2 fares, regular economy and excursion. Those were my 4 fares. I could quote you a fare anywhere. This was before deregulation. Now there's probably 785 fares to the same place.
Whoa,
Yeah. All with different rules, all with different inclusions, non-inclusions. So you have to be really educated to use the airline system well.
I see. So, Holly, you mentioned that you've been operating Via Van Bloom for 47 years and that it's getting bigger and bigger every year, especially after COVID, because I'm sure that kind of shrunk business as it did for everybody else. But when you say that it's growing, how does it grow? Is it organic? Is it through word of mouth? Besides the social media, what is it? What is it that makes Via Van Bloom grow? And what is it that works best? And what have you tried in the past that you would say hasn't really given any results?
Okay. Just to correct you, I've owned Via Van Bloom for 47 years, but I've worked alongside them for a lot of years before that. So
I see.
ownership only 5 years. What has made a difference and what has grown our business is organic word of mouth. I would say that is probably 80% of our growth. Just to give you an example, you have somebody come in and they want a honeymoon, and
Right.
somehow you get talking about this destination wedding that somebody did. So then pretty soon they go, well, what about a destination wedding? And pretty soon you have a nice small group, 20, 25 rooms for a fun little destination wedding. That one trip, if they love it and they're cared for and everything is gorgeous and beautiful as you said it would be, has 40 people that attended that. And those 40 people start telling all their friends or whoever's going to have a wedding, oh, you need to talk to Holly or one of the girls at Via Van because they know all about weddings and they would love to help you with that. Can you see how that multiplies? And so good experiences, happy endings is how we grow our business. And I know that sounds like it's not a good marketing plan, but we never have to worry about business. We always have more than we can handle.
I would argue that's the best business plan.
Really? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, because anytime you go, if you think of like a restaurant as an example,
Mm-hmm.
the food can be the best food in the world. But if the service or the server was subpar or they were snooty or had some sort of attitude, you're like, I don't think I ever want to go back there again. It feels it's like a bad taste in your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas you can go to your favorite restaurant that might not be, a Michelin star restaurant, but you know that when you get there, they roll out the red carpet for you and
Mm-hmm.
they know you by first name and they treat you like a queen. And you're like, I'm coming back here no matter what. I
I
don't
don't
care if
care
you're
about
just
the
serving
food.
chicken fingers. Yeah, I'm just coming back for the experience. So like, I think nowadays it's a little bit different because there's so much competition in travel and
Oh, yeah.
there's a lot of tools that people are employing
Yeah.
when it comes to marketing, especially with AI. But I think what I'm trying to say here is that the experience is the number one thing. I think if you have the cheapest package for a wedding of 25 in Italy and you don't answer the phone when they need you and it's the cheapest thing, but the experience was not so great. The hotel was not good. The food was whatever, and
Right.
they didn't take care of them. I wouldn't say that I'd come back to something like that or go through Via Van Bloom.
No. And we can't guarantee that everything is going to be perfect every time, but boy, do we try hard. And if it isn't perfect, that's where we really shine because let's help you fix it. Let's see what happened and see if we can help fix it. And usually during your travel, right when you're in it, so you can help them, at that time period. When I first started in travel, I've always had the mindset that I do now. And I worked for a company for a while, and they, like if you did a honeymoon cruise or anything, when you came home, I always sent you a welcome home. I always tried to send something when you were on your trip to the cruise ship or to a hotel room or something like that. And a gentleman that owned the agency that I was working through said, that is your biggest waste of money. He says, you shouldn't do that personally. If the company wants to pay for it, that's fine, but you should not personally take on that expense. And I can honestly tell you that every single tiny bottle of wine to the whole bed plastered with puddles, anything that I've done like that has only earned me a billion more customers.
Absolutely.
You take care of special things and do special things. It's the best advertising. I always get these people calling me say, you need to advertise here, you need to advertise there. And I go, I don't need to. I don't need to do that. I would love to build certain types of business, and I'd love to know how to do that a little better. As far as getting customers, when you take care of them really well, they just come to you and come back and then tell 3, 4, 5 more people. So it just blossoms, really blossoms.
Very cool, Holly. So one more time, if you can tell us where people can find you.
Okay.
For the website and for social media.
Okay.
And get that experience that you're talking about.
Yeah. www.via, V-I-A, van, V-A-N, and then Bloom, B-L-O-O-M. I spell that out for you because it's a hard name and it's hard to find. I always tell people via, like I'm going via the airline. I'm getting in a van and then I'm going to bloom where I go, so that's how I always put it. We're on Instagram under the same thing, Via Van Bloom. You can
So it's viavanbloom.com for those that are interested in Holly's services.
Yes.
Holly, thank you so much for taking time out of your day. I appreciate all the stories and all the insight on the travel skinny. I'm glad that there's still folks out there that are doing the white glove hands-on service that isn't this sterile, click here, write your information there, see you later kind of service. It's something needs to be prevalent still in all hospitality.
Yeah. Yes. Well, thank you for the opportunity too. This has been really fun.
Absolutely. Thank you, Holly.
Okay.
And for everyone out there watching the Velostrap podcast, thank you so much for watching. See you on the next one.